Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and hey, welcome to Slime. I believe we're at episode 9. If things look different, if my voice sounds different, it is because I am currently on the road, and because of that, I'm using different equipment and different setups, and I do not have all the stuff I have to usually make the watch through and all that. So this is pretty much just going to be the impressions part of that video, just talking about this episode of Slime. Okay, cool. This should probably happen for the next episode of Slime 2. It'll probably just be impressions, and then it should be okay by episode 11. We should be back to normal. Anyway, let's get into the episode. So with this episode, I think we can all see very clearly that we are starting a new arc. We are going in specifically dealing with the ogres that just showed up. As I'm sure you longtime fans can imagine, I am very excited for all this to be happening. I'm so in for it. But we got quite a bit of a plot details, and I guess some interesting form of character introductions for this episode. So let's just go through there. Oh, and we also have something really neat that's specifically a how would I say it? It's like the signature move of this genre of show, and it's specifically doing with the skill that Rimuru got this episode. Or, sorry, the skill that he revealed he had this episode, because he technically got it when he ate Shizu. So first off with the ogres, we got a lot of plot points, and that was pretty good. One thing that I was kind of just sad about is I'm waiting for a particular moment, so I felt the episode was kind of dragging when it came to that initial confrontation, because you have one party trying to speak and the other party, saying that they already know what's happening. Like, thank God for the little ogre girl. But otherwise, I was kind of sad that it went on for so long, just because it took away. Well, look, it's not like they are somehow going to cut that down so that we get this moment. We're gonna get the moment in the next episode, but it was still something that I had my fingers crossed. But it was again one of those moments where I just have to be patient. Anyway, with the ogres, we got big things. We know that orcs messed them up. We know orcs look pig-like. We know that their town got destroyed. We know that there was a Majin, as they were saying in the Japanese audio or like the subtitles. So a lot of interesting stuff. And then we have that the Majin similarity, the fact that the Majin was wearing a mask and being linked to Rimuru. That was an interesting connection. So far what we have in front of us is pretty much just the setup for this thing to unfold. We have the setup for a really good conversation next week, where we're most likely, I think if we're lucky, going to see a flashback as to what exactly happened with the ogres. One of the things that we do get out of the episode is this general idea of superiority, especially with the way that the ogres are talking about it. They did not expect to be taken out by the pigs. So that is important in just establishing general power levels and why this is such a really big deal. And of course, the presence of a Majin, that is a big plot point. We're going to have to see how that kind of unfolds by itself. Now, if I do recall, the guy that we saw with the orc in the last episode, if I do recall, that person was wearing a mask, but I might be a little bit wrong there. So that's partly one of the reasons why I kind of just wanted to rush through that initial confrontation, because it's a lot of information, but it's not really information that we can act on. It's pretty much information that's going to be elaborated on in the next episode. In terms of whether or not that's wasted material, however, no, not really. It's just a matter of like it had to be done, because you wouldn't expect these people to just all of a sudden go in there and be friendly with Rimuru, especially considering that they're coming from most likely a disaster. There was something valuable, however, in that confrontation, and it's specifically the showcase of 3 people. 3 people in that ogre group got kind of shafted in terms of a demonstration of their abilities, and it's specifically the ogre girl, the blue ogre, and the gray ogre that I totally forgot existed, and then when I saw him I remembered all the jokes about him. Okay, but those 3 kind of got shafted. The 3 that got a bit of a demonstration were the little ogre girl, the red ogre, and the old ogre. So the old ogre has his accolade being rewarded when he Rimuru's talking about how he couldn't really sense that particular ogre coming for him. So that's a really good distinction, right? Then you have the red ogre who can use fire. That's a really good distinction. Then you have the tiny ogre girl, or the shrine maiden ogre girl, who can use sleep on people. So those three, it's pretty cool. We got to see a pretty cool range of abilities and wisdom from the old ogre. So I really like that, because this is pretty much establishing these are the people who are going to be in that opening. So you can imagine that these are going to be relatively high-end people. They're going to be pretty cool when you see it, given what they're doing in the opening and endings. So it's cool that they got a start here, although I am hoping that the three that got shafted do get some kind of attention in the next episode. I think they should, but as you can tell, red hair is going to be one of the big talkers in all of this. So before moving on to other parts of the episode, in terms of the ogre confrontation, I personally, as a fan, wish it was faster because I know what's coming up ahead. But I think it serves a purpose. It's just not really something. It's more of a hype-inducing event or a setup type event. So I don't think you're going to get that kind of payoff until maybe the next episode, where they have a proper discussion about all of this. Now, other parts of the episode, in this episode we got to see Rimuru playing around with his body, and we have the confirmation that it's genderless, and we have a bit of a funny stuff going on there. We get to see adult Rimuru and an adult female Rimuru, which is pretty fun, and I'm happy that they adapted it. One thing that I want to note though is that the duplication ability that Rimuru got from Ifrit uses fire. Rimuru uses that black smoke, and that in particular, I just find that really interesting. And I don't remember if that has any significance in the future of the series, so I'm kind of in a speculating mode of, okay, are they ever going to talk about what element Rimuru is using when he is doing the transformations, because you can, or the duplications, because you can imagine Ifrit had his element for his duplications, if I recall. Now, in the line of skills and all that, you go over to Rimuru, what he was doing with his degenerate. So the important thing with degenerate is that is specifically the line that goes something like, it can break apart skills and weave them back together. So this is a hallmark of In Another World type series. Specifically, the protagonists usually, if they're in a skill collecting series, they will get skills and they will merge them together and make new skills, and that's like one avenue for overpoweredness. Mind you, when you saw what Rimuru was doing this episode, we'll have to see how overpowered he gets with this particular branch of ability. But I just found it funny. This is opening up the way for customization. This is like one of those aspects where if it was in a video game, I would totally love it. I love the idea of combining skills. We'll have to see what kind of crazy combinations he does. But this idea itself, one thing I want to let you anime only viewers know, it's not unique to Slime. It's very common. It's really funny to how common it is, but it is one of the cool ways of seeing the creativities of the author kind of just pop out. Although in my memories, I don't think Slime gets as creative with it, or it doesn't rely on it as much as I think Death March, but that's based on compromised memories. Anyway, overall, I think it was a cool setup episode. I'm very excited for next week. I am happy to have seen the way that the ogres look. I feel like I have one more note somewhere that I'm forgetting about some little detail. Oh yeah, Great Sage. I'm so happy that I can hear that Great Sage was annoyed. That was one of the things I was really concerned about going into the show, because we're listening to it in another language if you're watching the sub. I wasn't sure if I would be able to pick up on the intonation of the voice while I'm reading the subtitles, but thankfully I was able to hear it this time. Great Sage is definitely annoyed. I love that little detail. So excited with it. So overall, good stuff. Let me know what you thought down below, and until next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day. And apologies if the audio is weird. I'm still working out the settings to make sure we got something good for the next couple of videos.